Psychological operations, aka PSYOPs, have been going on since the dawn of society on Earth. The lords always want to control the vassals. This video specializes in psychological warfare done via Black Project technology obtained by human sources in the 20th century. The information in this video was largely gleaned by myself from several sources and methods, such as extensive targeting experiences, insider experiences, contacts and testimony, research, logic, and critical thinking. You may disagree with this video, and that's fine. The truth will come out eventually. First, I'll start with predictive programming, which is central to the global conspiracy and psychological operations. Predictive programming is inciting an action to cause a predicted reaction. Predictive programming is often done to manipulate people into agenda-driven beliefs. It can be done to manipulate people into beliefs as well as disbeliefs. The most effective PSYOPs hit all demographics who witness it, not just the believers. Knowledge of predictive programming arms oneself with a mental defense mechanism against being covertly persuaded by PSYOPs. Directed energy weapons operate invisibly, while the inducible mental limits of directed energy weapons are the limits of consciousness itself. This makes for an incredibly potent environment for illusions of all types. Proficient illusionists are perpetrating covert ops worldwide with Black Project technology. The means is directed energy weapons and Black Project post-singularity artificial intelligence. Through the effective use of cover stories, sources like the CIA hide an abundance of technological effects on society under a plethora of various facades. I will cover some of these facades in this video. Directed energy weapon mind control programs. Directed energy weapon mind control is capable of full, covert electromagnetic mind hacking, capable of hijacking a consciousness and automating every function of the mind of a target. The mind has no built-in firewall. Awareness and memory can work to be defenses, and that is a major motivation in the videos I make. Electromagnetic mind control works the same areas of the brain natural thinking would, so it feels like natural thinking. Electromagnetic mind control programs have been taking place for half a century already, and just now they are beginning to be exposed. Just use a little logic. If the technology is proven in patents and videos, and the global elite know about it, wouldn't they exploit it? The Pentagon is spending trillions of dollars on unknown things. CIA whistleblowers say MKUltra continued. MKUltra neuroscientist Dr. Jose Delgado states his implants became obsolete via electromagnetic discoveries. With proper research, the writing is on the wall. Directed energy weapon mind control programs are happening at this second. Part of directed energy weapon mind control programs is V2K impersonations, which is capable of artistically impersonating every type of being, both fictional and non. Some of the most popular things the Black Project AI is impersonating is God, Allah, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Anything with a psychological hook is likely to be exploited by these groups. Every demographic has ways of covert and overt influence. Electronic telepathy technology can provide some of the most amazing conscious experiences possible. This creates a strong psychological hold on a target when they are given profound experiences. The more profound a psyop experience is, the harder it is to debunk or dismantle in a target's mind. Synthetic dream and virtual reality psyops are also part of directed energy weapon mind control programs. One way they use VR technology is give people dark and gruesome visions to punish them. But prophetic visions can be given by these technologies too. This is such a deep subject I can't pack it all into a short video or film. 2016 seems to be the year of false flags. It is safe to say it is all by design. The military-industrial complex has the ability to stop these crimes with their remote neuromonitoring technology. Instead, they are probably committing the crimes via electromagnetic mind control. Electromagnetic mind control is capable of making even the most empathetic person a killer over time. It is possible to completely lose yourself via these technologies. Negation of empathy is possible with electromagnetic mind control, and I would suspect this type of mind control could be happening to some targets who are not as truly psychopathic as the agenda calls for. Once you understand the ruling class of planet Earth at the current time are into blood sacrifices, rape, and torture, it really is no big step to say they are murdering people through mind control based false flags to further install the New World Order agenda. Age psychological operations are successful societal engineering attempts in that which a supernatural spiritual ability is central to the belief system. I believe a reason the Black Ops sources chose this flavor of PSYOP is it enables a supreme vulnerability to remote influencing technologies. Implanted V2K thoughts can be psychic ESP, technological endgame virtual reality cognitions can be remote viewing, synthetic dreams can be astral projection, electronic harassment can be ascension symptoms or psychic attacks, mind control can be spirit possession or the higher self. I believe all these cover stories were engineered to be popular for their providing remote influence ease and concealment. It makes sense they would have a strategy against the researchers and truthers when they gave us the internet. New Age psyops are largely that strategy. The New Age set of belief systems were engineered to be more bright and exotic than the truth. This creates a situation where if a fully programmed New Ager was to ever stumble upon the truth, it would seem underwhelming, bizarre, or even a psyop. New Age psyops seek to mystify the truth with strategic disinformation partially meant to create technological cover stories. Now I will go over the bullet points in the image. These bullet points are a culmination of years of opposing these psyops and studying them as well. Black Ops technology under a spiritual ability cover story. Black Ops technology under a spiritual warfare cover story. That's an army of demons mind-controlling people instead of directed energy weapons. New Age cover stories exist for literally all Black Ops tech abilities. Psychological warfare intended to obfuscate the truth in an internet age. Disinform the world in the field of extraterrestrial information. Technological mind tricks under a supernatural cover story. Control the opposition with false light information sources. Create false messiahs with remote influencing technology. Emphasis on higher power taking action for you. Division of population via belief systems, one looks irrational to the other and vice versa. Act as a dragnet to imprison people transcending old age belief systems into a new manipulation. There's nothing potent enough to be a one-world religion. The New Age set of psyops is the NWO planted religion. Technological channeling is something I have first-hand experience with, so I know for a fact myself that it exists. It is my firm belief that the majority of, if not all, New Age channelings are actually sourced to artificial intelligence and human military and intelligence sources due to their newfound electromagnetic mind control technology. When I say newfound, it isn't that new. Many whistleblowers and targeted individuals have reported the ability to mind control and channel via telepathy via as early as 1977 in my research. Electronic telepathy, that is. I suspect sooner. And it is no surprise to me that there is a major rise in channeled material since that time, and also an influx of it since the advent of the internet, since they wanted more disinformation once the truth became more available on the internet. Channeling often fits standard disinformation. In saying that, I mean it is truth mixed with agenda-driven illusions. Common channeling plays on people's desires for pleasantries and to understand the universe while convincing them of agenda-based illusions. Channeling is a good way to get an idea of the latest psychological operations. It isn't all-encompassing, but if you read the latest channeling, you might get a view into the psychological operation mind like I have when reviewing some of them. Some of the tactics seen in New Age channeling are apathy-causing, in my opinion, and that may be their biggest aim, to cause inaction in the public. In their biggest opposition, the people aware of conspiracy and open-minded people who are looking into extraterrestrial information. I will go over some of the strategy used in channeling psychological operations. Apathy is big from these sources. They never promote peaceful and intelligent action. They always promote something else taking that action for you. I see apathy all over their messages. Starting with saviorship model. If everyone thinks the cosmos, ETs, Jesus, or God will save us, the result is inaction on the ground where the change actually takes place. Apathy is what this causes. This includes things like ascension, extraterrestrials are going to save us, Jesus is going to save us, white hats are going to save us, God is going to save us, Source is going to save us, and much more. They have exhausted these programs' abundance in society for millennia, in my theory. Rapture model. If everyone thinks the planet will be destroyed, then why preserve the ecosystem? Why try to help society for the future? Apathy is what this causes. Channelers have said Earth will be raptured in some sort of cosmic culling of darkness, where the bodies of evildoers will be destroyed by the cosmos. I find a lot of New Age channeling cover the same tactics in Christianity, as seen with the Jesus saviorship model, as seen with the God or archangels as a position of authority, as seen with the cosmos ascension rapture model, as seen with extraterrestrials are saving us model, as seen with the Christian rapture model, as seen with priests being the conduit between a person and truth and or God, as seen with channelers being the conduit between a person and truth and or God. I think these constructs could be from the same source, honestly, but I do not want to offend any Christians. I respect Christians. False promises are also a part of these channeling messages, and these are also strategic, I'd say. It's not some trickster, interdimensional, disembodied spirit mind-controlling people, in my opinion. It's definitely a much more practical source than that. If someone believes extraterrestrials will land and disclose reality and destroy the evils of the shadow government, taking action on the ground on Earth seems less probable to that believer. I'm not saying this scenario won't happen, I'm just saying it is being weaponized at this time. I believe the false predictions of extraterrestrials saving us are in part to discredit ufology when the date the UFOs were supposed to show up doesn't happen. That happens enough in the past for people to think ufology is a joke, or their conspiracy theorist open-minded friend is an idiot when they had told them such things. This isn't just done with channeling. It is also done with electromagnetic mind control on transhuman seers of society, I suspect, purely to discredit the gullible flocks that believe such a thing and to distract from legitimate information in the field of alternative media. Positions of authority. Early on in my overt targeting case, they tried to take a position of authority over me with Archangel Michael facade and also Archangel Michael channeling material, which I never really channeled. The first one I started it and said, no, fuck this, I'm not going to be used for this. Channeling sources often take an assumed position of higher knowing than the listener. The cover story is to black ops as science is to atheism or Jesus is to a Christian. It is central to the modus operandi of covert ops to use successful cover stories. Hopefully my work will destroy some of the effectiveness of those cover stories. An example of a cover story I can bring up is ex-CIA engineer whistleblower Dr. Robert Duncan's testimony that the U.S. military's natural remote viewing programs were a cover story for covert technological remote viewing. The New Age belief system is tattered full of cover stories. I will list some of those now.
think these are detailed, that they don't get information from every individual that we're talking about. This is how detailed and how powerful these programs can be. Anyone here could be manipulated at any time. Do not think anyone's above it. We need regulations. We need laws. We need people to look into these regulations. Human experimentation is going on for years, but what we're talking about is so high-tech, so advanced. We're not talking hospitals. We're not talking people in psych wards, but it does include those. We're talking high-tech warfare here. We're talking technological advancements beyond the human comprehension of the mind. We're way, way behind the comprehension of the mind. That's why they're so far ahead. That's why they can get away with it.
Remote neuromonitoring is direct thought surveillance that is handled and processed typically by Black Project Artificial Intelligence. Modern science doesn't understand this yet, but I know Black Project science does. It seems electromagnetic fields in the brain contain all the data about what is in our mind, and it can be somehow picked up remotely without any implant according to several whistleblowers. When remote neuromonitoring is discovered, it will potentially open a Pandora's box with remote neuromonitoring law, and the potential insecurity of thoughts will be exposed. The fact that governments can directly monitor people's thoughts has major implications on psychological operations and psychological warfare. This means they can monitor how people react to their psyops and see if their predictive programming is effective or needs to be honed. Remote neuromonitoring turns the human brain into a 5-sense surveillance device. These technologies were discovered sometime in the mid-20th century, I believe, and they revolutionized black ops and the intelligence field above a certain pay grade. Endgame virtual reality is capable of full mind hacking to produce synthetic sense experiences. Any possible experience in existence is possible with these technologies. The military and PSYOP applications for this are large in number. The cartoon shown shows a person getting dreams perceivably from God, but in reality it's from directed energy weapons. Imagine how powerful the psychological direction is to a properly psych-profiled person with a God synthetic dream persuasion. Synthetic dreams are like the movie Inception, except it's all done by advanced directed energy neuroscience and artificial intelligence. One thing that has been brought to my attention about New Age psyops is that it is common for disinformation to be some sort of derivative of a deeper truth. It appears the PSYOP sources used secret government discoveries about science and the universe and modeled psychological operations after derivatives of the deeper truths they found. I'm not exactly sure why they did this, but it seems apparent to me it happened. Mind control assets come in all shapes and types, from the US president to famous musicians and actors. I have learned mind control has a hold on humanity. One little known fact, not all mind control targets are assets of those who violate them. Mainstream psyops enhanced by mind control assets in mainstream media, Hollywood, music industry, and places of social attention. Mainstream psyops enhanced by an army of shills. Alternative psyops enhanced by New Age mind control assets. Alternative psyops enhanced by black ops impersonation of higher powers. New World Order Agenda, Elements of the Global Conspiracy. This is reading from my NWO agenda page on www.omnisense.org. Aspects of the agenda: societal engineering, war, covert transhumanism, the electronic control grid, secret societies. 9/11 catapulted the NWO agenda, that is surveillance, war on terror, etc. Questioning of the official narrative is labeled as being like a terrorist. Questioning of the official narrative is labeled as a mental illness. Massive set of psychological operations, that's New Age, religious, scientific, and beyond. Eugenics, depopulation, GMO agenda, war versus the truth, war on terror, war on drugs, militarization of police, sale of arms, proliferation of war, injustice in the law system, one world government, corporate masters, corporations used as a hidden hand, cashless society, which would mean surveillance on all purchases and restriction of purchases by authority in some cases, sophisticated global surveillance network, compartmentalization of the conspiracy, targeted individuals, 21st century targeting, bastardization of science, bastardization of spirituality, dumbing down of education, infiltration and covert transhumanization of ufology, contactees, and channelers, New Age psyops, New Age religion, Old Age religion control, implant RFID agenda, covert mind control of assets, control of Hollywood, mainstream media, and music industry, population conditioning mind control programs, division of the masses monetarily, psychologically, etc., poisoning of the water, air, and food supply, bastardization of healthcare field, flawed pharmaceuticals, targeting and or assassination of key political dissidents, and totalitarianism, fascist leadership. Methods of the NWO, aspects of control. Predictive programming is key. Psychological operations, psychological warfare, false flags, surveillance, propaganda, that is us versus them paradigms, and a lot of other stuff. War, terrorism, religions, assassination, censorship, compartmentalization, cover stories, bribery, banks and banking system, corporations, science journals and science, militaries, monarchies, dictatorships, governments, politicians, prisons, law, big pharma, vaccinations, corrupted social constructs and infiltration of social movements, churches and popes, intelligence agencies, Black Project research and development, secret government science projects, geoengineering, electromagnetic mind control, character assassination, discrediting of truth sources, directed energy weapons, covert and overt electronic warfare, that is, i.e., microwave warfare, RF weaponry, and sonic warfare, remote neuromonitoring, electronic telepathy impersonations, Black Project post-singularity AI, technological mind tricks, technological illusions, division of the population via belief manipulation, beliefs divide people, belief system engineers, falsities recorded as history, concealment of our true history, monetary strangulation of society, monetary dominance and control, continued consolidation of global financial assets into the hands of the few elite, mind control of Hollywood, control of mainstream media, mind control within and propagated by the music industry, satanic subliminals in media, neurolinguistic programming, drugging of population, especially youth, with harmful psychotropic drugs, electronic harassment, mental health fascism used against electronic harassment targets, and COINTELPRO Zerset Zung, techniques to discredit, torture, and kill dissidents.
I thought that it was a matter of real concern that planted stories intended to serve a national purpose abroad came home and were circulated here and believed here, because this would mean that the CIA could manipulate the news in the United States by channeling it through some foreign country. Now, we're looking at that very carefully.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks.
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
At CBS, we had been contacted by the CIA. As a matter of fact, by the time I became the head of the whole news and public affairs operation in 1954, the ships had been established, and I was told about them and asked if I'd carry on with them.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to the national news services, AP and UPI?
Well, again, I think we're getting into the kind of detail, Mr. Chairman, that I'd prefer to handle in executive session.
I think it was entirely in order for our correspondents at that time to make use of CIA agent chiefs of station and other members of the executive staff of CIA as sources of information which were useful in their assessments of world conditions.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
In the book Bought Journalism, Udo Ulfkorte recounts the 17 years he spent working for a major German newspaper. In that time, he claims that he was paid by US intelligence services to put a different spin or slant on stories, also going as far as to claim that some media outlets were no more than just an extension of the NATO propaganda service.
I've been a journalist for about 25 years. And I was educated to lie, to betray, and not to tell the truth to the public. I have been a non-official cover. It means you too work for an intelligence agency. You help them if they want you to help them, but they will never, when they find out that you're not only a journalist, but a spy too, they will never say, oh, this was one of our guys. They will not know you. That means non-official cover. So I have helped them in several situations, and I feel ashamed for that too.